I'm gonna do a screen recording. So for those people who cannot show up right now. And do any one of you know how to like check if the microphone is recorded in the Zoom recording?
Obviously, one of us joining and just try to sit and listen.
Okay.
Um,
So do all of you have the Blender running right now? Okay, you can just Google downloading Blender. Yeah. So it's it's installing right now, right? Okay, yeah, just go ahead. Oh, welcome. I guess let's just get started because I actually want those people who aren't here right now to like have office hour with me to learn how to use it. So today we're gonna talk about how we use Blender, and I'm assuming that you have absolutely no experience before to any kind of 3D modeling program. So I'm gonna and we'll have to turn on the camera. Okay, so it is our tradition of the open source club where the club that share all of the open source stuffs. And the first thing in all of our talks is to discuss why this tool is existing for free and open for everybody to use. In the last two talks, we're talking about the YouTube Download Pro, which is like you can download YouTube video for free. And do you want to see that? Do any one of you have the need to download YouTube videos? Okay. So this is just a simple showcase, and I'm not going to talk about this for now. The thing is, you go to YouTube. I want to select a shorter video like this SNL. I love that. And you copy the link and YouTube Download Pro dash format MP4 single quote paste another single quote and hit return. So you're downloading the video from the YouTube for free, and nobody is blocking you. Nobody is prohibiting you, even if you're downloading the MV from those K-pop. Yeah, you have to install something, but we can, if you wanted to do this, we can do that like in the end. Yeah. So this is a great example for everything to learn that why a tool open sourced is existing for everyone to use. This computer has nothing special to run this YouTube Download Pro, but you are still having the access to the YouTube video. That's because downloading a YouTube video actually doesn't mean anything of like pirating or anywhere, because you basically have no chance to share the video without YouTube. It's like somehow like monopoly. If you're trying to download like a TV series from the Netflix, a movie from those like Disney Plus, HBO, whatever it is, those websites are not included in this YouTube Download Pro. It's because those videos is more of a product you can immediately sell for money. Like you can sell, if you're downloading the videos from those websites, you can be selling that to those who are not subscribed to the premium for money. But for the YouTube video, you actually don't have that like case, right? So this somehow means that the existence of such a tool doesn't mean anything harmful to YouTube company, which is Google. So that would be the reason why that this tool is existing. and in our case, Blender. So Blender is actually the only one that is free and widely used, greatly supported, open source 3D modeling programs, 3D softwares. We have a list right here, actually, recording all of the 3D modeling softwares. And you can see the first column, you see license. Generally, 90% of them are the commercial. They're sold for money because 3D modeling is like a giant topic, and you are actually using that in all of the different cases, including manufacturing, constructioning, animation, movie, everything, right? And in that case, we can use this to showcase that. You have tons of different tasks done by the 3D modeling programs, and some of them are requiring great precision, like manufacture, if you're making a deer, like if you're making a deer, I'm actually drawing a flower, but this data, you want it to be like 3 digits behind the dot, 5 digits behind the dot. And that means that this, the length of the data is like a lot longer than the usual ones, which is maybe just rounded to the decimal point. In that case, it means that if you're doing a precision manufacture, that means your program has to be very strong to support everything, like render, like size, like collision detect, right? So that's the case if you're using anything like Pro and robust, and you need support in the the Pro cases. That means there has to be a product of the 3D software that is supported by an actual company, like AutoCAD, like Fusion 360. It's offering the 1 year. It's offering the usage for the students, right? But it's generally sold for money. It's because it's a supported company behind that. If you're like buying the Pro licenses, you meet a problem, you can immediately deploy them. But in Blender, there's not such things. It's because the Blender, what does it do? It's a 3D modeling program that is supporting the animation. That's something like totally different from the precision manufacture construction. You can't be like computing the structure of the model you made. You can't make with super high precision. And that's the reason why Blender is existing. So if you're like in the future entering a new field, you want to know if there is a 3D modeling program and open source stuff. Oh, I see somebody. Okay. Yeah, I'm so happy that people are joining right now.
All right, we kind of skipped classes.
Yeah.
We're like all from
No problem. We haven't studied yet. And today's session is going to be super short because we're trying to make a 3-session series for Blender. And right now is Blender for 5-year-old kid. And we're planning to have Blender for 10-year-old children and Blender for 15-year-old teens in the future. Maybe the next week, November or December, but we're going to be having that. So today is assuming that you're not having any kind of the modeling experiences. So which means 5-year-old. You have to be 5-year-old to get into this classroom, right? So, and we were just talking about how many 3D modeling softwares there are in the world, and the answer is a ton of them. And most of them are sold for money, like $1,000 for a year. That's super large, right? That's super expensive. It means that those commercial softwares are supported by an actual company and a lot of the staffs waiting for you to call them to provide support. But Blender, as we advertised before, we are the open source club. Blender is an open source program that means no charging, no money, no subscription, no advertise. Everything is for free and is supported by the volunteers and people who are interested with them. And it also means that the shortcoming of the Blender is that it's not providing the super high precision, it's not providing the computation of the structure. the kind of stuff you will be seeing in Fusion 360 and other like CAD products. Like Fusion is allowing you to use the the CNC, right? How many of you have used the CNC before? Okay, so I'm just saying that the Fusion 360 is like having a ton of the interfaces with the pro manufacturer tools. So let's get back to our business. What is Blender? And in this chart, we're having 6 major genres of the 3D modeling programs. And the only one we're talking about is Blender, and which is, let me find it. Where is it? Probably not included here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's for animation, VFX, and rendering. It means it's a very popular field. Unlike constructioning, unlike manufacture, it's a place that the amateur people will have the chance to enter, right? You're the student and you have the chance to make animation. But if you're the student, you can't make a construction by your own. It means you have to be in a company or in a group or in a like research lab to do that. So that's also one of the reasons why Blender is existing. So that's like our routine for starting our talk in the open source clubs. We want to make sure you understand why there is an open source software existing in this world to provide you with all free access to 3D modeling. And this chart is what I made for comparing the common like modeling programs. I haven't used all of them, but generally, I would suggest you to use the Blender for most of the cases in ITP, unless you're making the like 3D printing, and that's the case you might want to use Fusion. And Unreal Engine is the one that we use to make games. Evolves interaction. You can code them. You can program the behavior of each objects that's used for making the games. SketchUp is like a super fast online software. You don't have to download anything to use that. And it's like the easiest level. If you're absolutely new to 3D modeling, you can also be using that. You can just Google SketchUp, and I'm gonna showcase within 60 seconds. Yeah, so. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to showcase anymore because I know it would be taking 2 minutes to sign in, and I don't want to waste your time. And anyway, this is the next slide that I want to show you that actually, if you go to different model programs, you will see tons of the panels terminology that you might not understand, right? But the case is, you can see a lot of the similarities in all of the different 3D modeling softwares, right? You always have a viewport in the center, sometimes even more, but it's not showcased here. You always have a panel at the right side about the properties here, and the materials, and you will see the hierarchy here, right? This is hierarchy of the skeleton, which means like you head, shoulder, and and this is one of the hierarchies. You can select objects right here, and we are going to be talking about that. This is the page that I want to like heal your fearness about starting in the 3D modeling softwares. So this is the one thing that I made. If you're learning any kind of the new 3D modeling softwares, you always gonna be seeing a viewport in the center. Sometimes it will be more. Sometimes it will be like 4. And you would have a selector here. You will see maybe word, maybe object, maybe view collection. That's common in all of the 3D modeling softwares. You have the detail here. That may be the position, rotation, and scale. And timeline, material, file inspect. How many of you have ever used the Unreal Engine before? Okay, no problem. So a lot of I'm not saying that all of the panel has to be used and mastered right here. The only content we're gonna be talking about is in this page. So this page is the takeaway for this session. If you learn this, you can feel free to go and call yourself a 10-year-old children, because this is the content. This is the only stuff I'm prepared for this session. And it's also universal in all of the 3D modeling softwares. The first thing is called nine value right here. You will see this similar design in all of the modeling softwares, like three values of XYZ, 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 right? One is the position, XYZ. The other is the rotation, and the third is the scale. So you will always see the third group is 1, 1, 1, and second is usually three zeros, sometimes a 90. And the second thing is the three panels that is the one that are the ones that you're gonna be using every time, which is the viewport, hierarchical layers, property or inspector. So that's the second thing, three panels. And the third thing is three managing, which is snapping. You want to make sure your model stick to the ground or stick to the grid. And the multi windows and perspective is like you select your viewport. You actually position your camera at a position to view the top, bottom, left, front, or back of the model. And the next thing is grouping and component. That's the one that I want to talk about. I think that's maybe the hardest in the case of Blender. Is about how do you like managing the movement of different objects. So let's now get to our business. Please get your Blender running. If you haven't, just Google Blender.
So,
How many of you have the Blender running right now? Okay, let me see.
Come here, come here.
working on it.
Progression bar.
Oh, I just installed that thing.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So we're going to be starting right now, but you can feel free to stop me at any second. So the first thing is creating a new file, which is right now general. I know your interface might be different, so I'm going to close it right now and reopen. So we start at the same, right? This is what you're seeing right now in your own computer. The first thing, or you might don't have the recent files. So the first thing is called general. So that means you're creating a file that is having the multi-purposes. And this is what you're going to be seeing. A cube. And this weird stuff right here, right? And there's a tiny balloon here, right? So these are everything right now, but you might also notice that there's a weird white and red circle right here. You don't have to pay attention to that for now. So you can also actually see that there are three objects right here. Camera, cube, and light. It's very obvious that the cube refers to this one right now, right? And you can select them by clicking camera. So it will be highlighted, cube, and light. So light is actually that balloon, and this balloon means the light. It's not this, it's not the red and white one. And you can be selecting different stuff together by holding Shift key. It's the same, clicking the item in here or in the viewport. So I'm holding the Shift key right now. And you see, this is live updated. Selecting here in the viewport is it equivalent to select in the here. So this goes back to our topic, this one. Three panels. This is the viewport. This is the hierarchy or selector. Let's see what's the correct name. So it's called outliner. It means when you select something, it will outline it, highlight it. I think that's my explanation of the naming system. The top left bottom of each panel is always the one to control the content of this panel. You can actually go to dope sheet. I think it's gonna be dope, right? And you see the tiny item here. You can click one more time and select back to outliner. So this is how you're gonna be managing all the viewport. If you put your mouse here, you will see the icon is like suddenly returning to a cross. You drag it. There's one more. go to the corner of the panel, you will see that your cursor is turning to a cross. You drag it one more. Okay. So let's start a new one. Because okay, let me see how to undo. I actually forgot how to undo. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, thank you so much. Can you say that again out loud? Yeah. So now we have the solution. When your cursor turns to a cross, you drag it. Whatever. Oh, I'm sorry. One more time. So we can actually go back by adding. Oh no. So this is another use case, and I'll have to start again. So this is the case. We open a new window and we can right click, delete. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Right here, right there, yeah.
Okay.
Furthest right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm still on the toolbar.
It's just show me here. Yeah.
If this is like a sure way,
Yeah.
like you just put it right here,
Oh,
and then you like, oh, not here, sorry,
Like in
like
between
in
two icons.
here. Bro.
No, like.
maybe you should double finger.
Go between two icons. Yeah.
I'm right. Am I right clicking on
You gotta
the
do two
Mac?
fingers.
Sorry, I wasn't. Yeah, and
And
then
then you close area.
okay, I don't know how to use the.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah.
That's why I have like so many panels.
Yeah.
I don't know like how.
Yeah.
That's probably for everybody. All right.
Yeah. So I want to say a big thank you and sorry for not knowing that. So I just found that. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is the 3 transform. Excuse me, can we a little bit, yeah, lower the voice here. So in all of the programs, you're gonna be see the 9 values right here. 0, 0, 0, and 3 ones, 6 zeros. They are the location, rotation, and scale. And it's basically talking about everything you can do to a single object. I'm gonna rephrase that. So location means movement. Rotation is rotate and scale is the scale. These are the 3 common instructions you can do to one single object in all of the 3D modeling softwares. And anything like higher level, you have to go to the, you find object mode on the top left corner, click that and go to edit mode. Here you can be selecting the vertices and move. So it's gonna be weird stuff. The the quick key I pressed is G. Oh, that's weird. I've never seen that. Oh, yeah. So the thing is, you'll have to select some stuff that can be edited. So you can enter the edit mode. And we're going back to the object mode. The first quick key is G. Please hold G. What? G, you mean G? Yeah, G is move. I know it's weird, but it's not the weirdest one. Yeah. So you select anything, it can be this balloon. You press G just one time, not holding. Press G. And you can move. And the second thing is S for scale. Selecting the stuff, press S for one single time. Oh, I'm sorry. So you can scale. The next thing is R, which is rotate. So right now it is just rotating at the direction that is vertical to your camera, to your viewport. But how do you rotate at the X, Y, and Z axis? I think that's a common question for everybody because all you want is just rotate by 90 degree in X, Y, or Z. So one of the solution is to directly input the value right here, rotation X, type in 90. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a cube, so you can't tell. So let's give it a new value, which is 45. So it's rotated at from the x-axis 45 clockwise. But that's not very helpful because in the most of the case, you want it to be a little bit easier. In this case, you are using the keyboard, which is like super difficult. The other way is select this stuff, press R for rotation, and here press X and press Y and press Z. So X, Y, and Z. When the tool is activated, these three letters are referring to the axis, X, Y, and Z. If you are using the mouse, you can also try by holding the wheel. So you press G. Here, if you have a mouse, press the middle wheel. I don't have one, so I'll skip that for now. If you're trying to if you want to make a big project, my suggestion is to firstly bring a mouse with you and has to be the one without with the wheel. It cannot be the Apple mouse, which is not having the middle wheel, which is going to be super hard. It's going to be extra settings. You don't want that. So we have as the same X, Y, and Z. Oh. So there's one more thing, which is you can actually find it here, transform. So transform means movement, scale, and rotation. Movement, scale, and rotation. With the three, you can actually build the whole world with the basic units. And transform means the combination of them. So here, transform is this icon. You see that? So right now, I'm not selecting anything. Click this cube and I press T. Oh, sorry, it's not this one. No, it's space and T. Space T and T. Two keys pressed together and you're gonna be seeing this gizmo. This red, green, and blue axis. So you can move with the arrow. Yes.
I didn't do space T at the same time. I did space and T.
And then I noticed the collection number at the top left.
What do you mean?
It went to the hundreds.
I don't know what I just did. I'm also doing that.
Oh. So if you see a number at here. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Here. It depends on the mode you're in. So you can actually right now not selecting any stuff, you press space. What do you have? I think most of you should be waiting the timeline. Yeah, it's because my computer has been configured to a different setting. If you're pressing the space, I'm predicting you're going to be watching some stuff scrolling right here, and the number rising right here. And you can actually click here to see this is called timeline. So space is the quick key for Blender to start the timeline, just as Premiere, After Effects, and all of the animation tools. So space is start. Space is also stop. So you, okay, you can press T. Okay. So Blender has a super strong point that is you can be, you have a lot of the freedom using that. You can be DIY your setting and panel and everything. For doing that, you can hold comma and command. Okay. What do you mean? Okay. This one. Yeah. So if you want to change that setting, if you want the space key to be something more convenient in static modeling, press Command and comma. And you're going to see this window, Blender Preferences. I see the majority of you are using the macOS. That's the setting shortcut. So it's Command and comma. If I think there should be some stuff. File details. Yeah. Yeah. Blender purposes. You can do that. This is the best. I'm sorry, the majority of us are using the macOS, so the tutorial is based on macOS. Whoa. And go to the key map. Key binding. It's going to be loading for a second. Ton of them. I would suggest you to first watch some YouTube video before changing the preferences. If you search timeline, time, you will see this is actually quite difficult, complicated. So I would not suggest to change for now. Okay, so let's just take it for this moment. If you want to change, you can maybe do that in our 10 years series, 10-year-old series. Okay. So we've completed the moving, rotating, and scaling panels. Oh, so there's one more thing that I want you to see. That is, there's a bar in the bottom. It's indicating you all of the quick keys or shortcuts. Like I'm right now pressing R. So you can see there's a ton of the combination right here. Right? Do we have this? Can you see this?
Press Hold it.
Any key, any tool. It's just showing you the corresponding and activated shortcuts at this moment. Let's go back to original state. So now we're going to talk about what is this. So this is something unique in Blender. It's called 3D cursor. So this is the cursor of our mouse, right? Blender is making a feature called 3D cursor. It's like another mouse, but it's fixed. It cannot be moved unless you do shift and right click. Can we do that? Put your cursor anywhere and shift the right click. If you're using the launchpad, touchpad, use 2 fingers to tap, shift the right click. This means you are putting a mark here. It is not an object, so you cannot find in the selector outliner. Holding shift and right click. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, in this object, have it selected and right click. Set origin. Origin to 3D cursor. Everybody, have you done this? Okay. So you see, there was a tiny orange point. If you set the origin to be 3D cursor, it means the tiny orange point is going to be there. And that point is called origin. This is the point or the anchor of the object you're having. So if you drag a window, a selector window on this cube, nothing happened. It's because the origin point is changed here. So the thing is, if you're only selecting the cube itself, but not the origin, which is the origin point, the orange point, you're not okay. So maybe this is a new update for Blender. Yeah. So the most useful showcase of the origin is scale. So right now, if I press S, you can see it's no longer like expanding at its geometry center. It's scaling at the basis of this orange point, which is called origin point, or just origin. So this is super helpful if, let's just say you wanted to make a wall. And so you can be setting the origin point at its corner, and then you do when you do the scaling and hold S, you will be only expanding on one side. So right now you might wonder why, wonder how to put this 3D cursor on the corner or the vertices of this object. So that goes to the final topic of this session, which is snap. Snap is the super helpful thing in a lot of the 3D modeling programs. And it is here. It is the magnet icon here, snap. Activated right now. In here, you have a ton of the selections. Vertex, edge. Let's just go with the vertex. Yeah. And now hold the shift key, do the right click, and make sure your cursor is close to this point. And this time, hold the shift key and the right key. So you're holding the two part. of the keyboard. One is shift key. Your left hand is holding the shift key. Your right hand is doing the right click, but you're not releasing. It's not clicking one time anymore. It's just holding. So when you drag this cursor close to the vertex of this object, you can see it's snapping when you leave, and it's free. When you get close, it's fixed to the vertex. So that's snapping and approximation of the movement. So right here, put your left hand on the shift key. Use two fingers of your right hand on the touchpad or the launch pad of the computer. Hold, press it. Left hand shift key, right hand touchpad. Double finger tap, pressing, not releasing. So when you get close, it can fix on the vertex. Okay, so the final solution for you is to have a mesh. So you might think that this is too difficult or complicated because you are doing a ton of the right click. So the solution is, so I'm now selecting this one and I'm do the right click. I see there's a panel, set origin. I feel like origin to 3D cursor is something I would be using frequently. Yeah, so what you do right now, right click on this selection or item. And you're supposed to see one more option right here, which is add to quick favoritives. Can you see that? It's not in my computer, it's because I've already added this to the quick favoritives. It is supposed to be. Okay, so you're not having it. It's weird. So you don't have the. So how many of you have seen the quick favoritives? If you're not seeing that, can you just without selecting any stuff, press Q. This is the quick favoritives, and it is by default existing in all of the Blender computers. Yeah. Because this is the 3D cursor. So if you don't have that, can you switch that in? Okay. Yeah. So quick favoritive is like a super fast panel, which you can wait, and you can be using that at any second. So I'm selecting this right now. It's right now transform activated, and I'm pressing Q. So it is one thing above all the tools. You can be always accessing this, even in the tool of the scale. Oh no. So anyways, you can be pressing Q frequently and add your favoritive instructions to this panel. Let's see, how many do we? Okay, so now we have snapping and the 3 transforms and panels. The one more thing we're talking about is grouping and components. Grouping means you're like putting 2 stuffs attached together. When you move this remote, this pen moves with the remote, this exact same movement. So how do we do that? This is something super easy in a lot of other 3D modeling softwares, but it's hard in Blender. So I want you to select this cube right now. Hold Shift key. Press D. One more time. Is this what you're looking at? Yeah. So this is duplicating while moving. You can still hold the X, Y, and Z axis. So this is the duplicating. So now you have 2 cubes. We can now test what does like grouping and different stuff mean. So our goal is to make these 2 together, and when one is moving, the other is going to be moving with the one. If you're selecting, so how many of you have now not completing the duplication? Shift the key and D. So our goal is to make sure this cube moves with the upper one. When you select more than one stuff in Blender, you will always gonna see one is orange and the other is yellow. Right? Even if we select the camera right now, even if we select the balloon right now, the newest select the one is always going to be yellow and the other is going to be orange. If we only select one thing, then this is yellow. 2 things and the newest one is yellow and the other one is orange. It means this is activated when you're selecting ton of different objects. Like right now, I have 3 objects right now. If I'm selecting them together and I press G, S, or R, they're doing the same thing together. But there are some of the instructions or the tools in Blender that is only applying to one single stuff. In this case, the yellow one.
When you go
Yeah.
black, you're taking the whole.
Yeah.
It's just purely one.
What?
Yeah. You go yellow box and then you moved it. I don't know if it kept or duplicated this, but.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I love that. So when we're including this and then clicking G, then it's duplicating. So selecting all this one. Okay, so these 2 and then G.
Oh, so yeah. So do you notice that there's 3 cubes right now? Yeah. No, it should be. It's because we pressed the shift and D, like,
Oh.
but you didn't notice. So it's duplicating at the same location.
Where can I?
So now, with more than one thing selected, and right click, and there should be one option called parent. And I want you to select make parent without inverse keep transform. So what does it mean? It means that all the stuffs right here, except the highlighted one, the activated one, and we're gonna be making them the child of the highlighted one, because one object can be having multiple childs, but one object can only be having one parent stuff. Yeah, parent is always going to be the highlighted one, because highlight is only one, and parent can only be one. I mean, in the definition of Blender. Oh, so let's try it. So what does it do? It's trying to assign the stuff to the parent and give the new transform. Like right now, for this stuff, which is the child of the cube, you should see this one indented in the outliner, and you should see that there's the location is 3 zeros, but it's clearly not at the origin point. It's clearly not in the word 0. It's because the child's word is the parent. So for a child, the word of the child is the parent.
In what instances will you want one video?
So that's why I'm only showcasing you the one with keep transform. It's a lot more useful. When you select this one, you will see it's not moving anywhere. But let's do an experiment. So I'm now undoing the tool, and now I'm gonna need you to remember this one, 4.7. Zero 068. And if we select this two, and we make sure that the one we just recorded is not the activated one, so it's going to be the child, right? And I'm right clicking, parent, make parent without inverse keep transform. So the location that's right now is not 4.7068 anymore. It's because I kept the transform of this object in the viewport, and the word has changed. Before that, the word of this one is the root word. But after I set the parent of the cube 001 to be the cube, it means that word of the cube 001 is now cube. So it's not moving anywhere, but the number has been updated because the recording system is changing from the old one to the new one. Do you understand?
What's the X on the second?
This one?
No, yeah.
This one? So this is the parent, because you can tell this is at the higher level in the outliner. Yeah.
So that was the location.
Yeah.
The other one, the X location.
Yeah, we can do it one more time.
I is why is the parent one 0 and the child one.
So if we're having two objects right now, and I'm highlighting this one, and this one is going to be the child. So for this object, the only update is that it's having a new child, but there's no movement. There's nothing assigned to this one. Only the object. It's like an extension.
Yeah.
So for the parent, there's nothing to be changed about the transform. The only thing is there's only one sentence I want you to remember, that the child's word is the parent. The child's word is the parent. That's yeah, it's easy to understand. I think you have, for this tutorial, 5-year OT. Their word is their parent. Easy to understand, right? So if you feel like this is hard to understand, my suggestion is to try it one more time. Yeah. Yeah.
But in Unity, something that makes that a little clearer is if you were to drag a canvas or a quad,
Yeah.
it has a child of
Yes.
this cube. Because then if you set that, once it's a child of the cube and you set the transform to 0, 0, 0.
Yeah.
It shows up like on the face of the cube.
Yeah.
It's no longer a 0, 0, 0.
So now, going back to our topic, the goal for us is to make sure one cube moves with the other cube. So right now I'm selecting the parent. You see, I'm selecting the cube without 001, right? So I'm doing the move. And you can see the child is updated with the parent because I'm not moving the child. So for the child, the number they remember is the word of the parent. So the child's word is the parent. The child is not moving, but the parent is moving. So the child is moving with the parent. Understand, right? I think it's really easy to understand because if you're a 5-year kid, your parent is going to be moving to a new city. I think you are also going to be moving. Okay.
How we can make this to leave a child.
Okay. So to make sure you understand, I'm gonna start a new file. I'm gonna duplicate them. And one more time. So we have 4 right now. And I'm gonna be selecting them, either like dragging, it's okay. Either like holding the shift key. Either like select one, holding the command key. Oh no, I'm sorry. Command key is some other software's design. So anyway, I'm selecting every one of them, and I want the parent to be this one. If you want to change a parent, hold the shift key, click, add and drop and highlight. So that's how it goes. So now this I think this one should be better for parent. And now right click at any one of the object right now and parent. Make parent without inverse keep transform. Keep transform means the child is not moving, but it's going to be moving in the future. So on the contrary, if you move the child, the parent is not going to be moving. Like if you're moving a 5-year-old kid from classroom A to classroom B, the parent is not like caring about that. So the child move have nothing to do with the parent. And if you have a nice observation, you can actually tell that there's a dash line between the child and the parent. Okay. Yeah, I think everyone now gets it. So these are the tools for you to start building like a city. You can build literally everything with this tool. And if you're learning a new modeling softwares, these are the 9 must-knows for any kind of the 3D modeling program. If it's Unreal, the same. Unity, the same. Fusion, the same. Understanding these 9 tools means you are getting to know and about how to make a model of any kind, if you want, as long as it's not that hard. And I think that's everything for today's session. And you can following this series, it might be the next week. We're going to the Blender for 10-year-old children. And in that session, we're only talking about modifier. This one, it is like a higher level of the modeling. If you want to make a complicated shape, like combining 2, like subtracting 1, like offsetting everyone, that they can all be done here in the modifier. So that's the one I want to talk about for the next session. And thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. What? Probably yes.
So when this happens.
What?
Is there a way to get updates on when this workshop happens?
Okay, you,
Or any ITP channels?
so I think because we're having the talk every week. And for the next week, it's gonna be higher advanced command line tool for macOS. But for the next week, it's gonna be Blender again. So I think you can generally, when you have the time, just come drop by at 4 and pay attention to the flyers and the posters there. So I can. Let me first end the meeting now.